So,
Yeah, I was distracted. Anyway, so I'm sitting there on the toilet smoking a cigarette. And I'm sitting now. Usually, when Chris does that, I'll be praying, God, please make him stop. Please make him eat. Please make him go to bed. Please just make him stop. Right. But this time, I can hear a part in my head screaming, please, God, please punish him swiftly, is what they were saying. And I thought,
well,
wow, okay. And I was like, well, how do I want to punish him? I said, well, make him burn his finger or cut his finger or stub his toe or just punish him swiftly.
yeah.
And then the thought of, oh, well, I don't want you to hurt him or kill him at work. So I said, well, I'll rebuke that thought.
And you
And
need
then,
a little bit of the income, so don't take it on
well,
the.
yeah. And I was like, I don't want her to die. But then I was like, but just punish him swiftly. However you want to do that. And all of a sudden, a thought popped into my head: expose him as a. The one thing he does not want me to do is let people know he's a. And I thought, because I spent the whole day redoing like 24 videos, because one I got to cut into 4 or 6 pieces or
No, that's what.
whatever.
See, you wouldn't know how long it takes.
Blocking that, I thought I'm going out of my way to respect his boundaries, but he can't respect mine. I thought, him. I'm going to expose him. And I'm like, God, is that my ego or is that you? And I couldn't tell. And I thought, well, I'm going to tell him anyway that that's my plan, what I had spent the whole day doing to respect his boundaries, yet you can't let me go to bed. What? Anyway, so finally I went to bed and woke up and I was still pissed off. Now, usually up until you and I started working together, I would just, okay, Diana, just leave it alone. Daytime personality would come out. I'd pretend like nothing was going on because I didn't want to have another fight or another conflict or whatever. But since you and I've been working together, I'm like, no, he needs that dose of truth in the morning, or I forget how you word it, more truth or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm outside watering, trying to figure out what am I going to say? How am I going to say? How am I going to start? Do I just want to sit out here and ignore him? So finally I got done and I came in and he was finally awake and having his coffee, which he made his own because I didn't make it. And he's just all quiet. And I don't remember how I started, but I said, well, oh, he says to me, what do you got going today? I was like, well, I got John at 10. Oh, okay. And I said, well, I think I started off with the video. I said, you know what I did all day yesterday? I did blah, 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 out of respect for you, out of your privacy, because you asked that of me, whatever. And then that led into, crossing my boundaries and all that. And I said, and my final solution is to expose you as a, I
Which
said,
is a funny
how,
thing, like that.
how do you feel about that? You know? And he's like, well, and I told him, I said, usually I pray for God to stop you, make you eat, make you go to bed. I said, but you know what I prayed for this time? For God to punish you and to do it swiftly. I said, I thought you to cut your finger, burn your finger, stub your toe, something.
You're making me spill my coffee here. You're
And I
just
even told him, and I said, and the thought of you getting hurt or dying at work went through my mind. I said, well, no, God, I rebuke those thoughts. I said, but punish him swiftly. And he pipes up and says, well, it worked because he said, because I was shitting blood. And I said, well, great. And I was still mad. And so I was going on for a little while about boundaries and this and that and how I'm respectful of you and you're not respectful of me. And it's always about the beer and this and that. And and I finally calmed down and I thought, okay, well, God did answer my prayer because Chris, once I stopped talking, then he goes, well, I'm going to stop drinking. I said, I'll believe it when I see it. I've heard that a million times. So just don't even go there. I said, just do it. Don't tell me you're going to do it. Just do it for yourself. And I said, and what is this business about? Why do you need to hide this? I said, either it's a lie because you can't prove it, or you were and you did such horrendous stuff that you can't even face it. You can't even whatever. And I said, I'm calling forth the in you because I think the as a higher standard than the drunken ranger that's running around all the time. And he goes, "Oh, are you talking to my parts now?" And that made my jaw drop. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Because he's in there, and I think he's got a higher standard than this drunken ranger that's been, living here." I said, "I don't know what the big fucking secret is. I don't get it." I said, "You ought to be proud. You should be wearing it like a shining armor or whatever." And his excuse was, "Do you remember Bernie at work?" And because Chris is an imposing person. He's a powerful man. And there was this tiny little wimp of a guy. "You scare me, Chris. You scare me." And he says, "Well, if everybody knows I'm," can you imagine the HR nightmare that's going to go on? And so he's using his work as an excuse. I said, "You know what? I think that's bullshit." I said, "I think you need to pull out that, hold yourself to a higher standard, and start dealing with whatever that ranger that went through." I said, "Because I'm fucking tired of this." So, and then I finally calmed down. He calmed down, and we spent the last hour just kind of chitty chatting about stuff. And then I thought, well, God did punish him. Made him poop blood. I said, "And what does that even mean?" I said, "Does that mean your intestines are bleeding? Is your pancreas ripped open? What does that even mean?" He goes, "I don't know." I said, "Well, has it stopped?" He goes, "Yeah." I don't know if I believe him or not. I said, "But that's a big deal to shit blood." I said, "So, well, that's why I'm going to quit drinking." And I said, "Well, you better, because your body's breaking down. It's been breaking down for 10 years." He said, "Have five attacks of pancreatitis, hospitalized 3 times."
Oh my
And,
God.
and he won't admit it's from the beer. It's the food. I ate this or I ate that. Or, it's this constant battle of trying to figure out how to feed him. Oh, I make something, and he's fine. And then the next week, because he drank too much, he can't eat that again. And why do I make it for him? So I don't make it again. "Well, why don't you make it for me?" "Well, because so it's this constant battle with food." And I'm like, "You know what, Chris? I'm just going to make what I enjoy. And if you can eat it, great. And if you can't, have a bologna sandwich," is how I've handled it the past 3 years. I'm like, "Cook your own fucking shit." I said, "Because I don't know what's going on in there. And I'm tired of trying to flip flop back around, figuring it out." And I said, "Your body is breaking down." "No, I'm just getting old." I said, "No, beer is tearing it apart from the inside out. And until you can admit that to yourself," I said, "you're not going to fix anything." And he was like, "Yeah, I know, I know." So anyway, that was my drama from last night.
Was that today? Oh, this
Last
one.
night and this morning. Yeah. So I was kind of relieved when you wanted to push it a couple hours. I thought, well, good. He didn't leave for work till about 9 or 9:30 anyway. So I had a couple hours just to work on. I was working on my map.
Anna, from what you just shared and just listening to it, from beginning to end, that was a divinely inspired spiel.
I hope so.
I mean, from every angle, from every transition. No, honestly, I just want you to, you
Well,
nailed it.
thank you. Yeah, I was blown
Oh,
away when that drunken fool came out of I was
that. But then I mean, that's exactly, because it's such a, talk about a landmine. You're trying to negotiate, you're trying to go through an open rice paddy field in thick mud or in mud, downpouring rain, thick fog, snipers, right? So in trying to deal with somebody like him,
yeah.
you try to thread the needle to place that little droplet of truth, that claymore mine of truth. I'm on a roll now. All of a sudden, now I'm picturing. Okay, so it's threading the needle, and you did it. And so the whole thing. I mean, from
Oh,
beginning.
that's great. Yeah, because I was just, and even I forgot, even in the middle of that, I said, I was talking to John about Angie, and I did this thing, and then I felt guilty about it and realized I shouldn't. So John told me to just throw her truth bombs. And I realized that's what I need to do with you. I said, "So I'm not going to pussyfoot around and play this ridiculous game anymore."
So just know that that was such, as an outsider looking in. So the coach and you're the quarterback.
Oh, it's just
These were a series.
exhausting.
These were a series of spotless throws that you made.
Oh, well, that's good. You've taught me
But
well.
the most crucial one was, I mean, it's like when a quarterback's on a roll. So I'm telling you, you scored. It was just you were threading the needle each time, and I'm calling forth the that's every now and then
Because
there's
I
those
think you mentioned that once. Yeah.
that's
And
spot on.
oh,
And
well,
look at the
good.
effect. Look at the
I asked,
effect.
and he goes, well, why? I said, I think because they have a higher standard of conduct. I said, I don't know, but I'm tired of this drunken
And he
ranger.
knows, right? He's pushing because I mean the Lord was using you. You were almost prophetic, and that's why he wasn't dealing with you. He
He
was dealing with
did. He was like, you talking my part? And I was like,
look at that.
I'm talking to you, but if your part's listening, great. Like, because something needs to change. Anyway, so yeah. Well, thank you. That's good. I just,
No, that's just
and
stellar.
I told God, okay, since you made his poop bleed, you punished him swiftly, you scared him, I won't reveal him as a. But I was just like, I don't understand why that's. He kept it a secret from me for 20 years.
I really think you're taking it. First of all, you nailed it perfectly in what you said, but it really just from you describing it again, I just think he was involved in it. Kind of one of those things, and they made them drink that crap, whatever that thing was.
Well, and I asked him too. I said, it's funny. I got to thinking last night, all these 20 years, you've told me all of these stories about Ranger this, Ranger that, whatever. I said, but never once a story about a mission. I said, not that I want the details. I don't need any of it. I said, but what happened there? Do you even remember any of them? I said, is it all a blank for you? Is it just stuffed away? Where is it? What's going on? Why are you ashamed or embarrassed or hiding this? I said, there's got to be a reason for that. And he didn't say anything. And I go, he's like, well, no, I wasn't this. He starts getting into the technical details of battalion this and battalion that. And I'm like, you know what? That's not where I'm going with this.
And he knows, he knows.
And I said, you remember that dream you had where you're standing in a field and you're shooting animals and there's blood all over the air? I said, when you told me that, my first thought was they told you that they were animals. And that's why in your dream they were animals. But I think that you were shooting people so badly that there was blood in the air. And that dream was reminding you of it.
Spot on.
He didn't say anything because,
Spot
well,
on. Okay. They,
he's like, oh. I
how
said,
much?
so something's going on with your time and you keep repressing it and pushing it down. And I said, you need to stop it and face it.
Same thing
And
with
I
Bird.
said, and whatever they made you do, it's because they made you do it. You're not responsible. If you could choose to do that again, would you? And he didn't say anything. I said, you need to get off being ashamed about this or embarrassed or whatever it is. Anyway, so a lot of breath just talking about it. But my adrenaline is all pumped up and the love shack was going through my head again last night. So I said, okay, Eden, who used to be Beth, I said, in the morning we'll do a TED. So I did. I played the song twice and she just went to town on TED for like 7 solid minutes, barely taking a break. She felt pretty good. It's like, I can't do anything about it right now. It's 11 o'clock at night. We've got a crazy person out there. So first thing tomorrow. And so when Chris left, I went and did that right away. But yeah. Oh, and when I was doing the TED Talk, I remembered I thought, well, okay, I was always focusing on the boy before and a little bit on the girl. So I focused on the girl and I was just smashing her breasts and their mouths and the penis. And then all of a sudden it popped in my head, well, there was 20 of them. And so I did 20 bangs on the left, one for each. I named them 1, 2, 3, 4, naming them by number. And then on the right, 1, 2, all the way to 20. And at the end of the song, it goes bang, bang on the door, baby. And I said, smash in her head. It's like, bang, you bitch. I'm just yelling and screaming. So that was my morning, adrenaline filled.
I was.
Amazing. Yeah.
Diana, you've made such you made such incredible progress, but again, let me qualify that, meaning, of course you have. So you're just, it's so gratifying for me because number one, because you're a survivor and to be able to see where you're at, that's what's so gratifying to me.
Oh, good.
To know that you're being set free. So when you were
Well,
doing
you gave me the tools.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, you've taken it to a new level. It's a beautiful thing for me to watch. But anyways, sorry, all that to say, so first of all, your gift was very, very much pretty. It was very heartwarming.
I'm glad. I'm
But
glad.
when you were whacking the bed, I thought this is probably something that needs to be done at some point in time because you have two things that came out. One is
You could throw a tantrum.
okay, okay, but you know, here you
Just
beat the
don't wear
hell,
a dress.
right? Oh, okay, yeah,
And
right.
film it.
But beating the hell out of Ted. But all of a sudden, I thought, oh gosh, talk about all the more experiential. You're over a bed. So and you tapped in real fast with that. So that was the first thing I thought we really need to, so good for you that you did it because it's like I need to start recommending that.
It's awkward outside, but my bed's only
Yeah.
18 inches
Yeah,
high.
no, that's
Most people's beds
but
are
I
like,
knew what you're envisioning, and it was a beautiful thing. I thought this it really then needs to be that combination. I mean, every now and then, at least one time, somebody needs to go and give themselves permission. But because you've done such good work and hard work, what's so neat but so amazing and what's so wonderful about your videos, Daniel, because you're so real, nobody can, you know, where I'm always going with perps and whoever, as far as
they
trying to
can't
down,
shoot holes in what I'm doing.
right? You can't because you're just you. And so that's what's so compelling when you're describing things. And what's so amazing is, so hopefully you hear this in a very affirming way, which
Sorry,
is,
I forgot to eat lunch. So I'm snacking
yeah, no, you do
with the
that.
sausages.
Um, it really is such, in a way, it's a skill and then it's muscle memory. And so what you're giving to survivors, okay, you can tell I'm just thinking this through because a couple of things were hitting me, pardon the pun. Okay, I thought I really need to recommend at some point in time that a survivor go and beat the hell out of the bed because it was very clear that, okay, Ted's,
Angie got a lot out of it that day. Yeah.
yeah, because I mean, it's just such a powerful thing. So I'm going to recommend to survivors at least one point in time in their life. And now you've done a video so they can watch how it's done. But what's so neat, you know what I'm talking about, meaning what's so amazing is, and what you're giving as far as a gift to survivors is, first of all, they're seeing, okay, that it can be done, and here's how you do it. But you're so connected now. There's such free flow of information and intuitive connection, and the flow state between each part. So you've gotten to know yourself so well that you're able to go from 2 RPMs
To
to
10.
1,000 to and I'm able to watch, you know, you can tell in each part, and it really is a testimony to the intensive work that you've done,
You got to do that
right?
screaming.
For you to be able to tap into the different parts, because when you're doing it's evident, or at least when I'm sensing it, it's like, okay, there's, you know, there's somebody and there's somebody, and it's a beautiful
And
flow.
half the time, I don't know who it is. They're just like, get
Yeah,
his ass now.
there
Get
you
his
go.
boobs.
There you go.
Someone's just shouting at me. And I
And
don't take the
also,
time to find out who it is.
that's it. And so
I just,
it also speaks to the willingness of the parts. So as a team, you all are to be commended. It's such a beautiful thing to watch.
they're all happy.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. Oh, no, right. I'm on the sidelines
They're
as a
like
coach
jumping
going,
up and down.
oh yeah. No, but to think that you've become such a team, right? That you move the ball down the field. You guys are unstoppable. And it's like as a coach, it's like, dang, this is good. So it's like I'm running along the
Oh,
sideline and with
good.
you
I'm
guys
glad.
move the
Yeah.
ball down. So
I
very
feel
good.
good. I mean, I'm having small little memories now, not really massively traumatic ones, more just small experiential things. But I think it comes from the constant repetition of going over the journal, over, dictating it, then correcting the dictation, and then sending it to my email, putting it in the Word. So now I'm going to read it a third time, edit it. So there's a fourth time, and then putting it in my PowerPoint in the right place. And so I might read it a fifth time. It's like, yeah, the first time while you remember it. And I talk about this in one of my videos, but it's just going over it again and again, and it destimulates it each time. It's like the first time it's the emotional, chaotic kind of thing. The second time, okay, correct this word, correct that word. Oh yeah, add this. I get a little bit more. And then I'll finally go to sleep, and in the morning I'll put it in the Word document. And as I'm going through, they'll go, here's a couple more little tidbits. And I'm like, okay, but there's not that intense emotional reaction to it anymore. It's like, yeah, it's upsetting and gross or whatever, but going over it again and again and again. Yeah, I agree that writing it down first gets it out of your body. And I think I heard someone talking about, it was good, Kathy O'Brien, taking it from a emotional experience and making it more logical, because that, switching the brain right to left, left to right, whatever it is. But I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. But then I thought, well, how many times have you gone and reread that? Yeah, it's great to get it out the first time, but I think going the repetition of it over and over and over, it's like you're saying, okay, part, you're worth my time. Tell it to me again. Tell me, oh, there's a detail. Great. I'll add that in. And when they see it added, even though it's on the computer, it's not written by hand, it validates them even more. They're like, great. She thinks that's important too. She thinks I'm important enough to put it there. And look, she's adding it and correcting it, and making sure the words are right. And even make sure, I want it aligned up on the PowerPoint just right. And I want the font size just right. And it being anal about it, it gives them intense validation, as we're just sitting here talking about that.
And look at and doing it, you're getting to know intuitively
Each
that part.
one.
And that, okay, that now that I just think about it, that's what I would agree with someone, the concept of integration. Now, you've now, here's maybe we'll use this term, harmonic convergence. So forget
That I
integration.
think, yeah,
That's an
works.
interesting term.
I was talking to Emma
I
about
like
that
that.
on the phone, and she said that
Wow.
I said, I said I'm more interested in having my parts co-conscious and living with me till the day I die. It's because I got 181 parts. I get to be Superwoman. I have 181 different personalities right there present at my beck and call. And
Think about a football team, right? Think
even
about a
if I
football team.
don't call for them, they'll jump up and handle it because it's about survival.
That's right. That's right.
Right. I said, I don't want them to retire. I said, God bless Carrie Alahe. I said, but, or people who integrate, I don't want them to retire. I don't want them
Until
integrated.
they
She
have an
said,
integrated, right?
and
They've
she
just
said, with what Grace said to her was that she said, with certain MK Ultra things, just remembering it. He said kind of integration kind of is just automatic because but I think I think maybe the words, well, and Emma said this as well. She said integration, she said you could perceive that as almost pushing them back down again. And I said, I totally agree with you. I said they need to be present and conscious, whether they're active in your day-to-day life or not, is different. Yeah, they can hang out in their world that you make for them in your mind, but the minute something happens, they're there and conscious with you. And so Emma, she's in agreement with that.
well, as you were describing, all the more you just described a football team. A
Yeah, imagine
Super Bowl
181
winning
people on
football
the
team.
field.
Yeah, a
I
Super
told her,
Bowl.
I said, I get to be Superwoman.
Yeah, a Super Bowl winning football team. You take the camera, it pans back, and it shows how many players on the sidelines, how many assistant coaches, how many coordinators. So it's right, there's no I in team, and so so you've got a football team of 181.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And
and you got special teams and special players, right? It's exactly.
what's interesting is the very last part that revealed. Remember, it was Astro. I remember the Astro projection part. And then the next one was Commander. That was the MK Ultra command part that someone could go and access and change and create parts or change parts or do whatever. But that was the last part. And I thought, wow, I wonder if that's designed that way. I mean, it has to be. Because I always thought that Jack, my part Jack or Jasper, my handler, was like that programmer guy. But it's not. There was a part actually created called Commander. His new name's Connor. He says hello. But it was the very last one. And I know I've said this before. I don't think there's any more, but we'll see. But I just thought that's fascinating.
Yeah, so what that would have meant is he would have been the one. So when we'll just say when they
So when
took,
they go in and access,
so when they, yeah, go on, what?
oh no, this morning the access band came back.
Oh no, it didn't.
Just as Chris and I had calmed down and everything was fine, I saw it because we're on a cul-de-sac and it was turning and it had to do like a 3-pointer. I thought, get your phone, get out there and take a picture. So I want to show it to you. And I did, but I forgot I did it till now.
Did you
Anyway,
get the
I'm
license?
sorry. Go
Did you get the
ahead.
license plate?
No, just the side of it. I would have had to run and
The
I
fact
didn't
that
want
they
to.
came up to your door in the middle of the night,
Well, it wasn't this one in particular,
right? But
but
still, just the
yeah.
idea, just the idea.
Yeah, I thought maybe people might recognize this. And, if so, let me send it to my email right now.
So it would be interesting, Diana, to find out, is that a private company people call up? My guess is it's a contractor
With
with
a
the
hospital or something.
hospital. So it'd be interesting to find out, okay, let me research this contractor, or what's the contract and where they located. I mean,
Yeah.
this is potentially serious here. So that means we've got
Oh,
a
shoot.
company that's being run by that is so confident, they love putting it out there.
Look at, see, it's all it says, the whole thing. And wheelchairs go in and out of here, but the one that came to my door didn't have windows. And I don't remember if it even said access, but I thought, I don't know. It's just funny to me. Let me save this so I can make it bigger.
Almost looks like an ice cream truck.
I know, right? We have an ice cream truck. Why are you not downloading? Come on now. All right, save as journal. I guess I'll put it under per.
Diana, with the idea of the commanders, so that would have meant, so they take little Diana, these MK Ultra perps that are going to hurt you, or they're going to hurt a kid. And so when they're starting off, the trauma, they start to subject a kid to trauma. So the first part that steps up to protect, you pull Diana in. So there's that part that's out now. Connor, he's out. So he becomes then the primary gatekeeper.
Yeah, yeah.
So he obviously saw from the beginning what happened.
So yeah, I think what they must do is install a command program first, and then they install maybe not in this particular order, but I think the commander is first, and that's why he's revealed last. He's
Okay.
the, the deepest one.
He was
But
threatened.
they add the prison guard to keep the
That's
parts
right.
in place, the communicator to send communication out where it needs to go. They've got the Raven that's on Overwatch, making sure no parts are going nuts, all the different little pieces and parts. Come on, what
They
is
obviously then had to take, I mean, like SRA is not bad enough, but what they do is it's such a shock to the system, right? Not that anybody ever gets used to SRA, but all of a sudden to introduce a Nazi-like methodical scientific thing
Mhm.
is just like talk about going from North Pole to South Pole, a switch in hemisphere. I mean, literally.
This
So to
thing will
take,
not download, so I'll have to play with it later.
so
Sorry.
the, no, that's okay. So it'll be, so my hunch is he still may have, no, he may not, right? But if I'm Connor, that's a significant to be subjected to the very first time. I'm just thinking this through. It's one thing, okay,
You got
so
the electricity or the ear or the eye or
that's
whatever
it,
going
right?
on.
Just when you think it can't get any worse than satanic ritual abuse, all of a sudden this kid now one day is taken to a place or your dad was doing stuff, but you enter into a laboratory kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so poor
Some
Connor
sort of scientific, or like was Jack's office, but it
yeah.
had panels and
Okay, so
earphones and video.
he was trying to protect you. And so little did he know that that was going to be the beginning of his job. And then, right, if any kid's being tortured enough, they're going to go along with something to stop the torture. And so it went from like Major League Baseball to Major League Football. I don't, it's such a shift. So it'd be interesting to hear from him, in the journal or whenever you and he
Yeah,
connect.
because there's not much for him so far until he reveals. Where are you, Connor?
Yeah, see, he's such a key to the whole process of healing. I mean, all parts are, right? But if he was the first one at MK Ultra, he's got, I mean, it's like going through the sound barrier.
I think that they create like maybe 3 to 5 key components. Here,
Yeah.
I'll show you this first. Like I put on that the mind file part.
I'll tell you what just came to mind, Dinah, the conversation you had with Chris. But obviously, Chris was being a drunken fool, and that was beautiful. But think about just the content of the message. Very interesting, meaning in a loving way for you, right? Chris was being obnoxious, and he deserved all that. But in a way, think about the message that you delivered to Chris. Like, you're a ranger, but I don't understand. You can talk about this, but you can't talk. So Connor is probably going to have to wrestle through that duality. He's okay with the ranger, but there's something about, right, there's that threshold,
Yeah, yeah,
guilt, and whatnot. So that'll be an interesting process for you and he to debrief because there's a going to be that aspect, right, that he's working with the ranger, but now the ranger part of him, but that part probably has a lot of additional stuff that he
well, so
had.
I asked him, I said, I've never heard one whisper of you about any of it. And I was like, do you even remember it? And he's just kind of going, he wasn't going blank, but you could
Wow.
see it was like
Oh,
back there. I was like, wow.
good for you.
But yeah, you got the commander, communication, the prison guard. I guess it's not really bird of prey, but it's like Overwatch. There's someone who
Observation.
takes care of covering things up and lying, the files themselves, and you get the soldier operation, someone who handles the torture, magic, and so these are the SRA parts. But then you've got the insanity, suicide, um, sabotage. Yeah, those 3 guys are always together. The sex, the killers, confusion. It's like I don't know if these were all installed with MK Ultra, but these MK Ultra parts certainly accessed SRA stuff and added extra purposes to them.
Yeah,
They
okay.
reached into my past and said, well, you already know this, so let's bring you forward
That's right.
and make you a new part with the same skills as that guy, but now we're going to add on to it and give you extra layers of secrecy or whatever.
Yep.
So yeah, that's just what I came up with. Because like I said, I always thought the commander was Jasper, and it's not, it's Connor. So but yeah, and then there's and all the parts are put into their categories and whatever. So, and I told Emma, I said, tell Gray to thank you for
Oh, that's good.
that.
That's
I
good.
said, because within 5 days I had it figured out. I said, I was sitting on the edge of my seat and noticing myself sitting on the edge of my seat. My parts were just eating it up. And I said, the next day I started sketching it out. And within 5 days I had it done. And she goes, you're kidding. And I go, no, but it would have never happened if Gray didn't air that. So, anyhow, okay. So, journals. This is the 11th. So this was just a quick image that went through my head as I'm dropping off to sleep. As I just saw myself sitting naked on a man looking at his feet. He was anally raping me and kind of doing sit-ups as he did it. It was just the most bizarre thing. I said his face was very wrinkly and drawn, but he was not old. I think it was in one of the mob clubs. And then I was like, oh, it was Kevin, because I had parts that were in the mob clubs, but whenever there was an anal penetration, Kevin would take over. That was like his job. So if you see me working on Ted and I'm hitting the butt, it's oh, I'm sorry, his name is Vince now.
Okay, there we go. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's got
He
it.
just said that he wanted you to change.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Great.
See, and he's like, "Yay, I'm not Kevin anymore. I want to be Vince." I'm like,
There we go.
"Okay."
Call him invincible.
Oh, that's he likes that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was the next day. Well, no, I guess it was that night. I just sat down and destroyed some prisons. And I'm working on Sweetie, who is the one that was the dog that dad made drink out of a bowl and all that. Said she wanted to stuff dad's face in a toilet full of piss and shit, drown him until he was dead. And this is a new evolution in the destroying of the prisons. Is first they want to attack and kill their perp.
Good.
Once the perp is dead, then they destroy their prison.
That's perfect.
And I was like, okay, we can do whatever you want.
There you
So
go.
once he was dead, she held him down for another full minute.
Good.
The toilet full of piss and shit. After that is when she told me that dad once pissed in the toilet and made her have to drink out of it like a dog. And now we're going to blow up the entire house.
Oh, gosh.
So I thought I'll record this one because I got a new memory of drinking out of the toilet. I was like, anyway. And then also, Veronica is telling me that she also passed notes back and forth while she was a waitress at Mondo's. So that's when I was like 15, 16, 17. Where I stole from my boss and he tortured me. After she filled everyone with what she did was I should put filled them all with sawdust in their body, right?
Oh, I like that.
All the customers, the boss, the employees, all of them. And then lit them on fire and they burned from the inside out.
Good.
I could have never imagined this, but she is. And then they in turn burned their entire environment down. So first it was the restaurant. I was like, okay, are you done? She's like, no, with the whole town. So then the whole town, I said, okay, is that good? She's like, no, let's do all of Southwest Iowa, including Omaha.
I like.
And I went, okay. So we just slowly torched the whole place.
Good.
And And then after that, God always takes it and sucks it down, all the black charred dirt, whatever. It either turns to dust and he blows it away, or it turns into black ugliness and he sucks it down to hell. And as he does that, he replaces it with natural growing grass, trees, whatever, all the time. And sometimes they'll say, "What do you want to be there?" And they'll say a forest, or and I think this one for Iowa, I need to put this down there. God filled with tall grasses and buffalo.
You know what just came to mind again? I'll tell you what, I think it really would be good therapy. I forget how much the program is, but I'm strongly, I don't know, I'm being hit so strongly with Zoo Tycoon 2. And
That's right. I looked
I'll
at
tell
it
you
and I
why.
tried
Okay.
downloading it, and
So,
it's
I mean, you got to pay. I don't know if it's a membership, they've changed it, but I'll tell you why. It's so easy to do it. You start with a blank canvas, it's an infinite canvas. And
so it's not a game, because
well,
the one I'm
okay,
finding is a game,
ready?
but I can't download it.
Okay. I think what they do in order to make money now, it's a membership or something. So it'll be online, but it retains it. It retains your work. But what's nice is as kids, but it's so engaging for adults anyways. So you create the zoo before you play the game, and the game is this: you're going to run a zoo and try to make money. So
Yeah.
there's two aspects. One is the creating and designing, the other is then managing the park. So it's great for business manager. It teaches the kids all sorts of stuff, but you never have to open your zoo. So what you can do is you can focus on creating your world. It's drop and drag, or just click, drag. So if you want a mountain, you click, hold, and lift your cursor up.
Oh,
On
nice.
a
And make a
valley, you click
mountain.
and push it down. You can add all sorts of terrain throughout the world because they're allowing somebody to create the different enclosures. We've got the polar bears, we've got the lions, you've got plants. You can create everything from dirt
I'll check
house.
it out again
So
then.
look at what you're just saying. Like, so I can envision Veronica gets to create then with this map, and you can fly over it, so to speak. You can create water bodies of water and put little houses in there. And so now you can actually have a three-dimensional
Visual, yeah.
right?
See,
And then you go on the granular level where you're driving a vehicle, or you pan back so you can create the world in here. And so Veronica could have a portion where there's tall grass and buffalo because they have them in there.
oh, cool.
So
Okay.
it really, I just think would be absolutely amazing because the drawings that I'm sorry, as you're touring the place, here's the lake and here's the log cabins, you guys could create it.
Well, that's, yeah, down, yeah. I'm kind of just fine tuning this right now.
Yeah, but when it just said, filled
Well,
with grass and raising buffalo, I thought, what a neat thing for Veronica to be able to then actually create what she sees and then place the buffalo in there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So anyway, that's just
Oh,
a
oh,
came to
yeah. Okay. So Wendy, oh, yeah. So these are just notes as I was just sure we were destroying prisons. And this maybe took a hour as I was just sitting there, had my list. So, okay, you're next. Are you ready or not? And all of them were. So as Wendy is telling me that she also had to whip some people in those mansions in Milwaukee and on stage in Chicago. She is going to whip every single person in every single environment to shreds until they're nothing but dust, and God can blow it all away. And he did. So Lacey and Jade, which were the spirit guide and the astral projection, they wanted to work together. I said, okay. So they're telling me that they shoot Star in the head and
Yeah.
then boil her in oil and then put an air bomb and do an air bomb. Then I'll say do an air bomb on Crystal Dreams, the shop
Okay.
in Milwaukee, and the apartment in Dallas where they were utilized. So I was like, okay, that's fine. We'll shoot her in the head, boil her in oil, and then we're gonna bomb everything. It's once they
Fondue
did
act going on. I like
so
it.
once they did that, they told me that Star would wake Astral up and oh right. So it's funny because it was either as they're destroying their prisoner, after they destroyed their perp, or after they destroy their environment, then they'll give me a memory. Said so. Once they did that, they told me that Star would wake Astral up in the middle of the night and send her out to do her bidding. Sometimes she would do it from the shop. So it was in my apartment in Dallas as I was going to sleep. If she wasn't trying to molest me, but then I went and slept on the couch, and then she would come out and have me go do stuff. So, and when we were in Milwaukee, it was in the shop. So, and I guess I'll put this was Dallas, and then this was Milwaukee. And see, they get jazzed when I put these little details in there and clarify the statement. It says I got all their prisons destroyed except one, Juliet. Sorry, I spelled your name wrong. She's the smoker, remember? She stuffed every single person who ever gave her a cigarette full of tobacco from the cigarette. She's slowly, so their mouths are open and she's filling their bodies, their fingers and toes, their entire body with tobacco from cigarettes. Open their mouths and sprinkle it in until their bodies are absolutely stuffed with nicotine. And she sewed their lips shut. Next, they have to walk around filled with it and become slowly sick over the course of a whole week, which is when I have like I bought a carton. So once the carton's gone is when so by the end of the week, they all just die consumed with nicotine poisoning.
There you go. That's a good one.
So many parts are jumping up and down and excited. Everybody's happy because I finished all of them. Like I said, except Juliet. And she's laid out what she wants, but we got 3 or 4 more days to go. So my physical body itself feels so much more relaxed than it has been. It's like it pulled something off my neck and shoulders. And like I said, after I did the first page, my sinuses cleared up and they're still clear. I've never been able to breathe more clearly out of my nose. And I always thought it because I have a deviated septum, but it was something else.
Did you make a note of that somewhere or even now?
Oh, yeah.
You may want to add that.
After the
Just to let people know the possibilities, right? As this stuff
my
comes out.
sinuses cleared up. We thought it was from a deviated septum, but apparently so yeah, clearest ever. So, and there was a point when I got onto the last page, something left my shoulders and neck. We are all laughing. Everybody was like this party, just giggling and happy and jumping up and down and high-fiving, and it was I've got goosebumps talking about it right now. I said, like, yeah, God wins. And then I laid down to go to sleep. And I said, I just saw a young man from the back in the side angle. Oh, right. He just came out of the shower and had a towel wrapped around his waist. He was lifting up his leg and kicking at something. I realized that he was kicking a child in the lower back and making that boy fall on his face. The youngest man was pissed off, or the young man was pissed off because he didn't get off from raping the boy in the shower. He didn't come. So he was, you're useless, and was just kicked him. So this was at what is this? Little Sisters of Notre Dame.
So think about how many males there were at this place.
It was one of the guards. Yeah, I happened to witness it because and I later added this a few hours later, Julie was being abused by Sister Mister, is what I'm going to call her. Sister Mister Mary John in a shower. Said the boy's front teeth were broken out and his mouth and nose was bleeding. Sister, oh, look at that. That's the dictation. Sister Mr. Mary was pissed off. How are they going to explain this to the parents? She smacks the guard across the face very hard. So just as she and I are getting in the shower, just as she was about to abuse me, she had to stop, she's handling this guard. Anyway, so she didn't get to abuse me that night. She was pissed off about that too. She was mad because it interrupted her abuse of me. He was just getting undressed. Oh, she was. Oh, he. Yeah, I thought I should call him as what he is.
I think so.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he had to go take care of the problem now. I was relieved to get out of there.
He was just in drag. He was in a nun's outfit.
Mhm. I felt guilty about the fact that I got to get out of there because that boy got hurt. I heard his teeth hit the tile floor. It was like, I mean, he was just smashed face in the floor. Sister Mary John hollered for the guard to get him to hollered for the guard to go get the nurse, but to clean him up first. The guard was going to go as they were, it should say, maybe it was they, in a towel and the boy naked. And was he a moron? Get dressed first, is what she said. Like, anyway, the boy had tears streaming down his face. He couldn't make much sound. I think his nose was broken as well. He was looking at his bloody hands because, he was just staring at the blood, trying to breathe. He was touching his face, and then he would look at his hands. I think he knew not to cry or scream. He was just trying to breathe. I was nervous. I thought I was in trouble too. Sister Mary John said, "Mum's the word." Yeah. She sent me out. I got out of there. Dad was surprised that I was done early. I was relieved. So, this was after destroying prisons. So that was cool. And then the next night, I think there would have been more, but Chris's antics kind of put a kibosh on it. Oh, no, that's the same one. So, oh yeah. So I'm laying down drifting. I saw a man and a woman breathing into and out of each other. Like each one's breathing the other's exhale. It was kind of gross. One would blow out and the other would breathe in, and they were exchanging a demon back and forth with each other. They were standing about 18 inches apart, and they lean their mouths into each other and blow out or breathe in the demon. As they did, it was to take in the demon. As they did, it was to take the demon in. Oh, as they did take the demon in, their eyes would be yellow, glowing. They were dressed in black, but not robes, like fancy dress-up clothes, but all black. When they were finished, the woman walked past me. She actually, I just realized this was as I stood in line for the spirit cooking. When they were finished, the woman walked past me. She had yellow eyes. She raised up her hands to her shoulders and fingers and hissed at me as she walked by. I think because she had to go behind me in line or something.
Hmm.
This was at the spirit cooking dinner with Brianna. That was the with the heads with the brains cut off and all that. Says we were standing in line for the brains. It looks as though she had saddlebags strapped over her shoulders and they are full. Some sort of weight to keep her on earth. It's not real saddlebags, but somehow I think so. It looks like she had something holding her down on the ground. It was very odd. Um, and actually, I realized she wasn't behind me; she was in front of me, and that's why I could see what they were doing.
So what? So it's a kind of an ethereal type of sandbag holding her down.
You know, like I guess they call it saddlebags because Chris has a pair. It's what you would drape over a horse. It's
Yeah,
about a
yeah,
piece of leather, you know, about this wide, goes over the horse. And on the side are a couple of bags for you to put stuff in.
yeah.
And cowboys used to put their food and whatever. And it looked similar, but it was draped over her shoulders. So it's like I kept thinking, what is
But
that
literally,
for?
you're talking literally.
No, it was like ethereal. I don't know how or why I could see, but I was like, I kept looking at it and it was like I kept thinking, what is that there for? And the part saying, well, it was to hold her down because she had a demon in her that I maybe didn't know how to control itself in a body. I don't know, but it was to hold it down in her body. It was weird. And it was the demon that they were exchanging back and forth, this man and this woman. It was just bizarre. And then the rest of this is just about last night and what I told you earlier. So, but yeah, I was like, wow, that's weird. I'm like, am I getting that right? And Brianna's like, yeah, yeah. So I don't know what it was, but I could see it.
Yeah, because it's so unusual, and I'm kind of racking my brain trying to figure out, okay, what
Well, and I
for?
wonder if that practice of breathing back and forth in and out was like some demon that had never occupied a body before. So it's they're like a more experienced person is practicing with a less experienced one. And finally, the less experienced one got it and had it in the body, but maybe couldn't attach and stay in. I don't know. I just get the impression it had to be held down to stay on the earth in the body. It was just weird. So I don't know if it's like a newly born demon being taught how to occupy a body or something like that is kind of what's going through my head, which, who knew? Like, it's just all very bizarre. But
Wow.
yeah. But I want to show you. Oh yeah, okay, destroying the prisons. And because the new life, okay, and I had to like make this column really wide to start holding some of these very creative things.
There we go. There we go.
So yeah, and this happened after I gave like 80% of them new purpose, or they chose new purposes in the real world. Some of them have purposes in Lake City, but I just think you guys can do whatever you want in Lake City because it's safe.
Yeah.
Watch each other, help each other, we'll train. But anyway, so these are all very simple, this first page. But once the next day rolled around, things started getting a little more elaborate. Like this one is, scrub dad with a metal brush until he disappears. And then the metal brush that was as big as the house that scrubbed the house away. Um, I should put scrub dad and house. Oops. With metal brush. Okay. Oh, and this one, sleepy, because she's been sleepy in too many locations to visualize her whole life. So the thing that happened
I'm sorry,
in
wait, where are we?
right here, sleepy.
Oh, there you go. Okay, okay, yep.
So the thing that happened in the Bible when the Israelites are camped out there, and I think someone did something
Nadab and Abihu.
right, and then God opened up the earth and swallowed his whole family.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think he closed it back up. Well, that's what she wanted. She said every single place, she said, God, you know where they are and what they are. Here's the few that I can think of. Just open up the earth, swallow it up, and then close it back again. So that was her thing. This just means it's a part that doesn't want to, because they had positive experiences. They're in the above the zeros.
Oh, I take it back. It wasn't that. That was Aaron's sons. Oh, that's right. There was going to be this rebellion, and yeah, the
Yeah.
earth opened up. Okay, the Korah's rebellion. That's okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it was like, well, they're just all bad. So God just swallow them up with the earth. That's
There you
what
go.
she asked God to do. So,
There you go.
um, yeah, Robert shattered a step, blow up the mob table to dust. That's where Smarty Pants was tested on at a table. Even though she's a positive number, she still wanted to blow up that table. Um, I told you about this one, drown them to tears to hell. And like I said, Juliet's in red because hers isn't finished yet. We have a few days.
Okay. I
But
got you.
these are the ones that I worked on next. Yeah, because Sweetie's in here. Dad's face in the toilet and then blow up the house. Tiffany, the dog, who was my dog Taffy, but I have a part that embodies her,
Yeah.
rips dad's throat out and then rips up the entire neighborhood with her teeth. And these three, since they all were created together, bam bam bam, they're at on the shore of the lake, the three of them each had their ideas. Bury dad and sand up to the head at the shore, drown him as the tide comes in. Then, as the tide goes out, the crabs come and eat his head up because he's dead. And then we use a grenade to blow up that whole beach area. And they're like, well, what about Bob, Marianne's husband? He's complicit too. And one of them said, just shoot him in the head. I was like, okay, shoot Bob in the head. Oh, Leech. Yeah, or I shouldn't say their old. Well, I guess it is their old name. Um, well, Larry Leach, they air bombed that whole lake vacation area with air bombs and then used torrential rains to wash it all out and clean it up. Sarge used a tsunami at School Sisters of Notre Dame. This one I thought was really fascinating. Clay and Shooter Six, the parts that had to kill with the Claymore mine and then with a gun. As we were looking at the place, they're like, well, we can't do the children. We got to pull the children out of there. So we did. I said, we'll pull them there. And so they're, Jesus kind of standing there and the children are standing there. Shooter, Clay, and Six are there. And they're thinking, well, okay, we're going to have air bombs come, but not yet. Get all the children. It went from 20 to 40 to 100 to 1,000. Thousands of children were standing with us.
Really?
And the air bomb, I got goosebumps saying it right now. And the air bomb came over and just destroyed the whole area. And then the tsunami wiped it out. And when it was all done, God made it into a beautiful beach again with the lake. And all those children were jumping up and down and laughing. It might be the thousands and thousands of children that died there. I mean, not by me, but just over all the years, there must have been tens of thousands of children all standing around Jesus. It was this massive, like, stadium filled with children watching Clay and Shooter Six destroy the place.
Well,
And I thought to myself, imagine if all these survivors out there alive right now go through this process.
yeah,
In their mind's eye, yes, but God is there watching and doing the thing that they request.
there you go.
And I
Revelation
kept thinking, I
6:10.
wonder if that is purifying that actual piece of land as each one of us does it, and
Mm-hmm.
takes a layer of evil off each
Oh,
time,
there you go.
you know, and it would be our way of us with God cleansing that piece of land. Imagine a million survivors doing this process over the course of a year, and those perps feeling something coming at them.
Yeah,
Not
there you go.
astral projection, but the land would be healing and the perps would be feeling it.
That's a big part of your message right there, because
And I
Revelation.
thought, imagine
Yeah.
all of us in our own time, just like this took me. I think I started destroying prisons, what, a couple months ago, 3 months ago. And I picked away one or two at a time. But for some reason, I was like, you know what? They're ready. Let's just do them all. And it took 3 nights. I think I did a page a night. And the last night I was a page and a half. But I psychically and on the etheric level, that's got to do something, and the power of that alone. Anyway, it's kind of like a prayer.
I think that's a very strong thing. Revelation 6:10, the saints in heaven, the martyred saints are crying out, Lord, how long before you avenge our blood?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Diana, right, you may be then that, uh, just as your parts are seeing
And
through
we
your eyes,
avenge it with
there
God
you go. You
in
become the,
our mind.
and how many of those kids then that were killed by these perps or
I
other
was
kids?
blown away that that happened. I was like,
They're taking
wow.
great delight. Well, it says we're surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses.
Yeah,
So, there's
yeah.
maybe very much more than one thinks is going on. So
Hmm.
that may have been a very prophetic dream that you had, that, or a
Well,
vision.
yeah, it wasn't, yeah, it was just an idea. I thought, oh, wow, okay. Or this particular
Yeah.
destruction scenario. Anyway, these ones I had done weeks ago. Um, and something to note too is that so many of these people were at the same location.
Yeah.
And so I think six of them did the tsunami like 2, 3 months ago, but then there was some left over. Lonnie was the girl in the basement feeling lonely. She just went, the whole house got sucked up with quicksand down into hell. These two, Andy and Lucifer, are the ones that were pumped up full of uppers
Oh,
in
yeah.
order to be whipped up either for sex or for killing. They took their perps, filled them all gave them fentanyl overdoses. I don't even know what fentanyl does, but
That's
George Floyd kind of thing.
yeah.
Fentanyl overdose for all perps. Plus, then they air bombed the rest of this that these guys had took out with the tsunami. For them, since they hadn't destroyed it yet, it still existed, even though it's the same place. Well, they wanted 10 air bombs. I said, okay. I was like, do it. This one, Pitt, since Wolf had already destroyed this place with, the same place with the tsunami, Pitt's like, well, I want to use the wolves. And Winnie's like, go for it. So all the perps were eaten alive by wolves, the very wolves that they turn on the children now turn on them, and used an air bomb. Oh, yeah. And this one, Avery's, because she was the one that was a courier with all the notes and the paper. And they're
Yeah.
like, well, paper. They like the sawdust idea. So they filled their perps with sawdust, but used lasers to burn them. And then that, moved to every single environment where anyone ever passed her a piece of paper, or she had to move drugs or money or, adrenochrome or whatever. So all those people got filled with dust and burned alive. And then the environment caught fire as well. This one I thought was interesting. Sailor, the electricity.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
He wants to tie the perps up with barbed wire
Good.
and then electrocute them until they melt.
Good. I like that. Okay.
Joker, I think, or yeah, his was a while ago. He used to direct that energy bomb. The girl on the boat that got raped, she just wanted the whole boat and everybody on it except the children were sucked into a whirlpool and drowned down in hell. Whipped they had a thing with tearing things to shreds and then God would blow the dust away. Um, these guys, yeah, directed energy weapons. These were all the Chicago, Canada mansions, etc. Pumpkin did hers a while ago. Quicksand, bombs, DEWs. Oh, this was interesting. New kid, Nicola.
Oh,
She wanted her eyes, her very eyes, to be lasers
I like that.
that burned up the perps, and then those perps would it explode into flames and destroy the entire environment. And then the next person was Corn, because this was, right after. She's like, well, I like that. Let's just take the whole area, have it be a corn fire, and burn the whole quarter state of Iowa, all Southwest Iowa. It's like, okay. And Scream, the girl who would remember, she said, the lasers and fires, let's do that again. So I was okay. So these kind of three were almost all together. Because when I'd start with one, sometimes a couple more parts, which were generally right next to them, wanted to join in. So
Interesting. Yep.
Worker bee, for working in the restaurant with all those drunks, she wants their hands, arms, and legs to be dismembered and put into boiling oil. Like, and then the restaurant would get burned, sucked into the oil and down into hell. Same thing, boiling oil and then blow it away. Blow up the dental office, boiling oil. Oh, this one, the girl that ostracized me from the town. We just blew her up entirely. So there's not really an environment. We just blew her personally up. And that's when I got to thinking, I hope she feels it in real life.
There you go.
And this was when my sisters had me do coke and took me to a concert. I thought, well, I'm just going to fill Angie and Mary up with cocaine till they die.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Dave Montgomery. I should put that on there. Was that boyfriend? I thought was a boyfriend, was a handler. And the trash can, I should put club.
That would come through the window in the barracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're just going to be dipped in acid in trash cans.
Okay. It's pretty creative,
Yeah, bombs, air bombs. Dogman was really, she had to filled the place with acid, which then turned to lava, filled up every square inch of every face. And then on top of that, 10 directed energy weapons. She was really furious. So she was like, this abominations of these creatures has to end. So, and the ones, yeah, this was El Paso directed energy weapons. I think I told you about this with the 10 of them, or I think 3 worked together, something. Another directed energy weapon, and then cut a hole. What they did was they took a directed energy weapon and cut a hole around all of El Paso. And once the hole was cut, it dropped down into hell. And then God filled the land up back again.
That is called urban renewal.
Right. So Krista, filled Star up with acid, who then overflowed and filled the shop up in the apartment that she was in. And those all just turned to bubbling acid down to hell. Oh, I told you this. Astral and Joseph, the spirit guide and the astral traveler, shot in the head and boiling oil and air bomb. And Bitch did hers weeks and weeks ago. Louisa Crank, air bombs. Oh, this was the father of when I got pregnant. Jesse's the aborted baby. And they were pissed off that he just blew us off. I mean, he was there and paid for the abortion. But as soon as it was all said and done, he dropped me like a hot potato and found someone, more what he would consider appropriate. I was too low class for him. So we just shot him in the head.
Good.
Buddha, we filled up that whole Buddhist temple, and the Buddha guy got eaten with acid. River took that, I was meditating and the river came down into my body. So we're just going to turn that river into black goo, and it ran into hell. So I don't know what that river was, if it was a spirit or just some ethereal something, I don't know. Face, the spirit that came up to me, the demon.
Oh, yeah.
Smashed it with a hammer, like a sledgehammer, a huge sledgehammer, just smashed the shit out of it. It was gone because it was ethereal, or you're not in the real world. Same thing with Nate. We blew up the basement with grenades. That's where I got pregnant. Shoot perps and had grenade launcher. Oh, this is because Mary never allowed, like you said, your daughter's withholding your grandchildren from you.
Yeah.
That's what Mary did with my niece and nephew. She withheld them. Yeah. And I thought, well, let's just air bomb Mary's house. And here we go. Shoot her in the head.
Yeah.
Okay. As I just saw it.
Okay, that was pretty.
As I'm talking about it, yeah. Wow. Air bomb all the Target stores. Oh, this was Chris. So all the different places we had conflicts.
Yeah.
So each place got a grenade. So you'll see that as we go. Pothead. She decides she wants to use CBD oil that burns and bubbles up into a lava that fills all of Milwaukee, because that's where I started smoking pot. Well, I don't know why we started with Milwaukee. It was actually Iowa, Milwaukee, which then spread out to the whole world, every single place that a perp has defiled.
There you go.
And then a hole swallows them down to hell. So that was what she wanted to do. And I was like, okay, whatever you want. Why I gotta make this smaller? See, and they like the fact that they're like, well, I can't see all the words. So come on.
There you go. Okay.
I take the time to, there we go. So they can see the whole thing.
That's good. I like this.
So they feel validated when I do that.
And look how well you've tapped into yourself, Diana. It's just phenomenal. This is going to be such an encouragement for survivors to let them know, okay.
Yeah, they'd like you pay attention to the details. And like I said, most of these are positive experiences. So, but another grenade shattering step. No, this needs to be a grenade. Sorry about that, Ariel. Oops. Gotta be caps. And this was interesting. When I was taking care of Sally's when COVID hit, and I was really scared and really fearful, I was listening to Alan, so he kind of kept my fear at bay. But I felt really alone because Sally was vulnerable. Chris was at home. It's just me carrying this weight. And I got to thinking about her. What she wanted to do was first to blow up Fauci, a directed energy weapon of Fauci. And I thought, well, it's not just Fauci that pulled this off. She goes, that's right. It's the 1,000 points of light. And that comes from a George Bush speech.
I remember.
And Alan Watt used to talk about that too. And when I had my experience meditating with that demon, remember I told you there were 1,000 points of light that coalesced and came at me?
Oh,
So I think what they mean when they say 1,000 points of light are like the demons, the principalities, the powers, the air, the whatever. And she's like, I want to direct the energy movement that, oh, I put 100 there. I need to put 1,000 points of light. So I was visualizing one, then five, then 10, then 100. Okay. Over the appropriate number over each country across the world. And I said, okay, God, direct them to all those 1,000 points of light that pulled the COVID scam off. And all of a sudden, he just turned them on one country, the next, the next, the next, the next, and just killed them. And then for mom, it was still COVID time again. And I was thinking, well, what was the most upsetting part? Was just trying to get into the country and having to go through the airport. I went through 4 layers of security and I was really freaked out they were going to deny me.
but to go to Canada?
Yeah, because it was COVID. I had to go through 3 layers of security for the airport and then another layer with a medical guy after that with security at my side, just for them to tell me, if you disobey any of these rules, it's $1 million fine. And I said it back to them. I said, $1 million, really? And they go, yes. So it's all just this huge intimidation tactic. And so they
Million.
bombed the airport and Fauci. Mom did, the care, Camilla.
Good.
And yeah, so that was it. And I should put on here, all these guys have me. Oh, these ones don't, because they like who they are. And Alan doesn't, that's right. So that was quite the experience. I still have to finish out new purposes, but when they're ready, they'll tell me. And but doing that was, like I said, after I was done, I felt something leave my neck and shoulder and upper back area. So it was cool. 1:30. So what else? Oh, I know what else will go. I've been working on this. I'm so excited about it.
Diane, as you were describing that, so you know, you wonder what could be alleviated. So a couple things come to mind: the weight of, so either guilt or again,
This
just
is
like
where
your
I
eyes.
held my tension.
Okay, okay, right. It could be that. I mean, it's a release of, and so think about either guilt or, as you said, that your grandmother used to put something on your eyes. So it's just
Yeah.
mind-body connection is so phenomenal. So to think that as soon as you finish this, there was a release. And so you wonder if it had to do with, it was tied to something that one of the perps said that
Yeah.
you
I don't
started to
know what the
worry about.
sinus issue was either, but like I said, I didn't even know I had a sinus issue until it left me. I was like, wow, you know, so I can breathe through both sinuses clearly now.
So I'm wondering if there, again, it doesn't have to be, so it could be, this is significant enough, but the fact that you suddenly felt, so I wonder if like some, what is a curse? Proverbs says an undeserved curse does not come to rest, because ultimately only God can curse, because only God has the power to make something happen. But right,
Like
so
make Chris's bleed
there
his
we go.
teeth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, so you wonder, just as you said with your sister, she got all there was that curse about the stabby knife thing. So you just wonder if at some point in time along the way that a message was given to you, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, you'll never be free. It's all your fault. But suddenly in going through this, then something was
No.
reversed. There was a shift. There was
It's
something.
something. Yeah. They were just, because first I provided them with a new home. They could either hang out with me here and now. That was for what, a month or two. And then we, Lake City evolved. and I made them homes and all this stuff. So like, oh, okay, we can live here. Our prisons are useless now, but there was still a psychological connection, like, because, and taking that literally one by one, maybe 30 seconds or a minute for each part, they could see, they created the destruction, they chose the method, they handled the perp and eliminated it. And it doesn't eliminate their memories, it just frees them.
Power is gone. The power
The
is gone.
power's gone. They've got a new house where they're safe and protected, and they have purposes, and they're acknowledged, and but existence has to come first, so anyway, but that's what they want to show you now. So sorry, I got to share again.
No, please do.
Was is I showed you this part, the life book, all the parts. And so now I showed you that I used the designer to make it prettier. Well, I changed the accommodations pages.
Oh,
Instead of sitting in these little tiny places
wow.
on that, the hillside, I thought, we know what the land looks like. Let's see what the houses look like. So
Wow.
these can house anywhere from 15 to 20 people each. So I thought, okay, 40. So there's,
Oh my gosh.
I know, aren't these beautiful? I just typed in log cabins mansions. And now these are medium size, so 20, it's 5, 6, 8 people in each one, because some people don't want to live in a group of 15 or 20, but they like the idea of a smaller group. So there's, I think, 4 pages or 3 pages. And some people think, well, I want to live alone, or maybe we're just one other person. So, okay, here 6 people can live here. Maybe
We're doing this is good. This is
3
great.
here, 1 there, 2 there, however they want to balance it out. And so I just picked different looking, small cabins. And this is my favorite part, because Jackie, Caroline, who is Jackie, she wants to live in a tree house. So I put in log cabin tree houses. And then some other parts. Well, I want one. So we have 6.
Hey, wow.
So there's 6 tree houses.
Oh, look at this.
Aren't they elaborate? Yeah. And ones that have enough room for 2, or if they want an adult to live with them, then great.
No.
They can do whatever they want, however they want. And the minute they need help, someone's instantly there. It's the rule. So you saw the kitchens, living room, bathrooms, bedrooms. And then I felt like Chris, like I said, if he'd be happy living in a tent for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So I thought there's some parts that like that idea too.
Yeah.
And it just changed the look of the pages. Orchards, you can actually see them now. And for the communication center, I love this one, the deprogramming center.
Good. Good.
And that's Jasper, who used to be Jack,
Yep.
who did the programming.
Yep.
And now he wants to be the deprogrammer.
That's true. Right now.
Most of the people, their purpose, they took the purpose they used for the cult, and now they want to use it for God. A lot of them have the same purpose, but it's changed to work for the good now.
And you're finally working for yourselves now.
And the library and school, like I said, I just made them all more consistent. Ice cream, burgers, pizza, arts and crafts, woodworking. This I loved. So now, okay, we saw the town, we saw what you can do. Now, meet my little friend and have a TED Talk.
You're funny.
And weapons training. And I added this morning rifle training.
Good.
And we got handguns, rifles, knives, hand, rock climbing. I added this. Some guys want to go hunting, fishing. That's I was thinking of Chris while I was doing this, hunting and fishing. Mountain biking, because I love this, and Chris and I are going to get our mountain bike game going again now that it's cooling off. The playground, like I said, I just used the designer. So swimming in the bathroom. I added this ice skating, rollerblading, because they're like, we want more fun activities, and like, we want to do singing and dancing. I was like, okay. And then you've seen this, the bridge to anywhere in town, and the botanical gardens, the bulletin board, and you've seen all that. And what I spent the bulk of, I liked how this looks better. Looks way better than before. Was since I finally finished everybody's old name, old purpose, and then their new stuff.
Wow.
But what I went through and made sure that all the entries, because they weren't always in order by date. So I went through this whole thing for each part and made sure it was their story was in order by date, journal entry date. So people could see how they evolved through my journals.
That's excellent.
And so that took, gosh, probably 6 or 8 hours. And just doing this part down here was probably 2 to 4 hours. Yeah,
right.
so
that's right. So I'm preaching the choir when I said, it takes 7 hours just to do it. Right? Sometimes it just takes.
well, and you want it right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
That's
so
right.
here's Connor, who you were talking
All
to
right. Now that's right.
earlier.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, here's my sense that Connor there's still a chunk that he either hasn't disclosed, and it wouldn't be his fault, but hasn't been able to process. So that'll be good for you and he. There's still more. I just really sense there's still more. He's such a key. Number one, he was a protector.
Mhm.
That to think that they shifted from, it's like going out from SRA hell to all of a sudden MK Ultra. That's got to be so. What a powerful protective force he was. That they harmed, of course, but it's just really neat. You and he'll be able to really. There's still more, very powerful. I just really sense that. So he's so.
Yeah, this was, see here, I added him here.
Matter of fact, are you sensing? Of course you are, right? Are you
This,
sensing him right now?
yeah, these are all the mind file
Yeah, yeah.
coordinators, along with and the other one, I have the butterfly, the beetle, the raven, all that.
So
But
Diana, let me ask you. As you know, I rarely, and I'm not going to. I want you to tap into him just for a second.
Sure.
And it's very therapeutic for him. So you and he are really getting to. Is there something? So it could be either that he hasn't. I mean, it's new to him, right? This is like a tectonic shift. But is there something that he knows? So I'm even thinking like Chris, the difference between, that the what I'm sorry, not the what's the other
Ranger.
okay, right? So it's that ranger to that shift. So is there something that Connor either himself doesn't know yet or he hasn't totally shared? I mean, there's something because he's so crucial.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, he's only got 2 pages, and I would
So
think
is there
that he'd
something,
have
as your
more.
sense, as he's listening, is there something that he wants to share to help really solidify his play? I mean, he has his
That
play.
he made sure MK Ultra functioned in every respect.
Yes.
Like there was a time. Remember when I told you I was coming into my apartment. My handler lived next door, and he was about to rape me second time. Pushed me into my apartment,
That's right.
and then all of a sudden Finnegan grabbed the knife, put it to his throat, and threatened him, and then he ran away and moved. I always thought, how did Finnegan get permission to do that? And I believe I wrote it on Finnegan's page. was that that handler did not have permission to do that. And that permission came from the commander. For whatever reason, in that particular scenario, it was not approved of. And I think because remember, it was the second time he accomplished it the first time. Then I believe I went out on a mission, did a mission, and talked with a handler and told him what happened. And that handler said, no, that's not supposed to be happening, because they needed me to be able to do these assassinations, killings, whatever you want to call them, without it being triggered and keyed in by sexual crap. So that handler, I think, talked to Connor and said, don't allow it. So if it comes up again, Connor sent Finnegan to protect Kitten. But it was only because Connor was given the order. So I'll have to record that. I mean, it's recording on video, but
That's very good.
so yeah, I think that if something was askew in whatever was going on in my life, the handler would access Connor and Connor would make sure things happen. Because I kept thinking, how did Finnegan get permission to come out to protect Kitten?
Maybe it's something like that. And again, I'm not, don't sense from me that I'm 100% correct or accurate. It's just one of those things, me wanting to.
But he gets his orders from the handlers.
Okay, so with Connor right now, between you and Connor, is there something that Connor either knows and he hasn't shared with you because he's waiting for, like he's going to bringing you up to the level of trust, or because the trust is already there? So is he good right now, or is there something else that he either wants to share with you or not quite ready to share?
He's ashamed that he facilitated the killing of so many people.
That makes sense. Okay, there. See that? Isn't that interesting? Same thing between Ranger and that's the Chris right there.
Yeah, like he said, Connor regretted giving Star access to the
There.
programming. He regrets it very much and is sorry.
Okay, now, so this will be very interesting. So in
So
a way, as you were talking to Chris, you were also talking to Connor. And so this,
oh,
okay, so right, I mean, you were talking to Chris, but it's so applicable for Connor, and so it'll be really good for, and Chris will benefit from this then. Meaning as an aside when the time is right, but in a way, what Connor might want to do, okay, this will be very interesting. It's almost like the empty chair technique in Gestalt. So what would Connor recommend for Chris to be able to have Chris be free to first make that shift to get in touch with from Ranger to, how would that happen? And then what would he recommend as far as being able to get in touch with and then release and go through the process of ultimately forgiving himself? But right. So it'll be very interesting because that means Connor intuitively knows the answer to help Chris, but in so doing, it's going to help Connor be able to
freed as well.
and to be able to give himself permission to be fully a part of.
Well, the answer that's coming to mind was what I said to Chris. I said, you do know that you were made to do those things.
There you go. There you go.
And because you were made to do those things, you're not responsible. Something that Kathy O'Brien said in her interview was that her husband told her, anything you did under MK Ultra programming, you're not responsible for.
100%. And same
And
thing
when
with
she keyed in on that, it released something. And when she said that, I think Connor heard that. And then, a day or two later, I could tell Chris that.
There you go. There you go.
Because I said, if you could choose now, or go back to that time period with what you know now, what would you choose?
Good.
And it would always be no. I would choose not to do those things.
That's right.
But you didn't have control of your own mind or even your physical body.
Well, you were put
You
in.
are a slave,
That's
a
right.
robot for whomever.
And the kids are put in an untenable position.
Yeah, pain, torture, whatever. Yeah.
That's right.
And the sexual abuse, it's just, you're not responsible.
That's right.
And I know that your heart would never want that.
That's right.
So he's,
Okay. So you and he, the more you get to know, really tap into him. That'll be super important. What are you feeling right now? You're tapping into him.
yeah, he's just sad. So we need to work on Ted.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm glad.
Yeah, he feels very
There you go.
ashamed,
Absolutely.
embarrassed,
That's gonna
regrets. He's, like,
Yep.
it's like, I didn't know. I didn't know. And I'm telling him, I know you didn't know, but now you do.
There you go.
So, yeah.
That's beautiful. That's going to be system changing. When Connor gets in touch with his rage, that will change. That's interesting. Isn't that interesting? I felt compelled to camp on this for a second.
Yeah. And I felt the need to go back to him. Yeah.
There,
So,
Connor's rage will shift.
well, and look at the picture I
There
chose
you
for
go. There
him.
you
He
go.
is mad.
Okay, so that'll be a tectonic shift. That's like the San Andreas Fault finally being able to let loose. And then everything will settle down in a way. There's going to be the ripple effect. So you and Connor are going to have a date out there with Ted.
For sure.
Make sure you film that one or something. That'll be like
Okay.
one for the
Yeah.
record books.
I should have done today's because Eden was just furious at that
Oh,
song going and all that. But she's like, no, I don't need to film it. Let's just do it. I was like,
there we
okay.
go. Good, right?
So yeah. But
Very good.
that's what I've been focusing on the past couple days is just getting this because I've always imagined that PowerPoint to be the pages of a book.
100%.
And I thought, well, and it'll be look through my eyes. Here's the part. Here's the first part. The next one, and they'll see the years go by and the evolution. It's like my life in chronological order, but not the front personality that I imagined when I first started. It's all these 181 people who are me.
Spot on. There you go.
So there's my book. And it's funny, how many pages is this thing now? It trips me out. It's 1,260 slides. So is that 600 pages? I don't know. And God help me trying to publish it with color pictures and stuff, but we'll see.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's 12. I don't know what you got going on.
Yeah, I'll be actually gonna head to the chiropractor.
Oh, good. Yeah. But are you doing any venting yourself?
I've got to get back to. I do intense exercise, but ever since this thing,
Beat up
it's
your bed.
yeah. No,
And I know for you to yell and do it while Susan's off at the grocery store or something. I know you want to traumatize me.
once I get this thing published, this first thing, then I'll be able to get back to this.
Well, the venting might help that go smoother.
Mhm.
Just the thought.
I like it. It's true.
Or pull Ted out of his box while Susan's at the store and
You won't know.
just put gloves on and don't do fist. Use your just beat the snot out of them.
Yeah.
Anybody. I mean, you're under such attack, but yeah. Anyhow, so that's my past 3 days. It's always action packed.
Well, isn't it interesting? Just there at the end, I just felt compelled.
Yeah, good. Yeah, yeah, he's ashamed. And I'm like, well, we got to put the knapsacks on them. So
Spot on.
that's what Ted does. So,
I began working with a new client just yesterday. She's probably been going at this for about 20 years.
oh my goodness.
Um, she knows most of her parts. She's got about 200.
Oh, wow.
Um, but the sticking point for her was she had never known about or been given herself permission to do the venting. I actually directed her to your page,
Oh, good.
and you saw hope come back into her eyes.
Oh, that's great.
And Diana, I think that's what you're going to do for even seasoned survivors that have gotten to a point, because she knew she was right at the cusp of, but she didn't. So it
So
was
it's the
just so,
venting part.
it was just so neat to be able to then send somebody to your channel who has been serious about her life, trying to figure out, got in touch with parts. And so it was just, so that's really what you're going to be
I
doing.
couldn't imagine doing all this without venting. It would slow the process down so much. And I know the thing's a chunk of change, but it's worth it. It's totally worth it, so.
So it's just, I also thought, what a sneaky thing. Who's the guy that, Dizdar? No, who's the guy that,
Rest is
not, I'm sorry, who's the guy that went to one of the universities in England, Oxford, that you sort of,
Derek Prince.
Prince, okay, right? That what a sneaky thing that
Yeah,
this,
that deliverance
but they're
nonsense.
probably responsible for both the deliverance crap and that the whole teaching about forgiveness. You just let it go,
His YouTube channel is millions of viewers. Millions.
and that's Dizdar. So I'm gonna have to make
No,
it
Derek Prince.
Prince. I'm sorry, that's right. Dizdar is okay.
Yeah,
Prince.
Derek
Let
Prince
me write that.
Ministries.
Is he
I
still
think
alive?
just the YouTube just says Derek Prince. Let
He's
me.
still alive?
No, he's dead. I'm pretty sure.
Because I will then, I'll plan on making a couple talks about him.
Derek Prince. Yeah, yeah. It's just
Okay, to
Derek Prince is
clarify.
subtitled. People, yeah, BR Ministries. He's kind of all over, but I mean, 300,000 views, 606, almost 700,000 views, 1.6 million views, 1.7. A lot of people watch this stuff. They think that his shit doesn't stink. And like I said, I thought he was, somebody until he talked about that. Oh, well, with my morning tea and crackers or whatever he has, I imagine it's the blood and body of Jesus every day. And it was funny because he qualified it. I wish I had saved that one talk, but I just thought, why are you he's like, and some of you may think this is odd or unusual, but
You
this
may
is
want to speak to that, Diana.
but yeah, I have in one of my videos already. But and I said, well, that's where I think it's the one I just posted, maybe, but I just went through 7 videos, so I'm not sure. Um, I said that's when something started to stink to me, something smelled, because why it was just the way he said it and his tone shifted. And it was like that 1% of rat poisoning with the 99% of corn. I thought he's up to something. He's just something smelled wrong. And I was like, and that's when I backed off watching him. And then you and I met and cleared up all that stuff. So
Well, I couldn't be more thrilled that you've connected with them on that. I mean, what a neat thing. The Lord's really
I
the timing.
know, and I'm blown away that she's like, well, we have to do a series of
Yeah,
this and that
absolutely.
and this and that. I'm like,
Absolutely. And that's going to be interesting
okay.
because now once I publish this first piece, I'll contact him again saying, okay, now I
Get
feel
back on there.
like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
a neat kind of thing that'll be developing,
The
you with
timing
her.
of it. Yeah. So, all right. Well, good deal. I need to eat some lunch.
There you go. Well, let me pray.
Okay.
It's
Thank
wonderful.
you.
You bet. Lord, thank you so much that Diana and I can continue to work together. And Lord, thank you for just bringing her, first of all, for preserving her all the parts. There's just such a reminder, first of all, what hell she went through, how evil this world is, and the powers of this world. And those of us that haven't experienced this, we just don't want to believe that there are just Nazis all over the place. But you know, and you were subjected to that. You allowed yourself on our behalf so that we know that you can relate. Lord, thank you for the promise that not only now, but also, especially in eternity, these people are going to burn in hell forever, and that even in the new heaven, new earth, we'll still be able to see the smoke of their torment going up. So thank you for that memorial, knowing that God wins, that justice on behalf of all those that have been harmed, all those thousands of kids. I will trust that you gave Diana a sense, even as she was reviewing that site with all the despicable skin stuff.
Mhm.
All those are people. Lord, thank you that we are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses. We understand those are Christians, but we also know that you're probably letting all those kids know through Diana and Diana's eyes that they haven't been forgotten, and she is their voice now. Lord, continue to keep your protective hand upon her as far as a sense of mission and just the trailblazing work that she's doing, because she's putting in the time. Lord, thank you for Emma. Continue to protect Emma. Draw her to yourself. It seems like she's not a Christian yet, so we'll just pray that either way, you're doing a work in her life, and also with Gray. Lord, just be drawing them to yourself, and Lord, use the time that Emma and Diana are going to have together in a very uniquely strategic way. So just give Diana a sense of calm, a sense of just assurance that as she is able to get things organized, and help her to be able to be calm during this process. Help her to sense that this is just a very natural thing, that it's her presence and her message that will speak. So thank you for the work. Continue to help her to be able to organize it and feel that she's getting it organized in the manner in which it'll best flow. Lord, thank you for setting her free. Lord, thank you for Connor as well. Help him to really tap into and be able to work through the rage. Lord, thank you for preserving all of them, and we pray for Chris. Lord, continue your good work, and thank you for speaking truth through Diana. Take those words and just don't give Chris any rest until he's able to unlock that door, until he's able to come face to face, Lord, with that part of him that they forced him to do stuff. They manipulated that whole situation. So help him to be able to work through that so he also can experience your forgiveness. So continue the good work in his life that you're doing, and give Diana the patience and the wisdom to know how to deal with him when he's being like that. So Lord, thank you. Thank you for your grace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father. And thank you, Jon.
Okay. It's a privilege, Diana, honestly.
Well, I feel like all those things I said was my Jon part, just your words coming through me. So that's why I made you a part. So Anyhow, all right. Well, have a great day. I hope your chiropractic goes well and it makes you feel refreshed.
There we go. And when I publish this thing, hopefully my goal is by Sunday evening, then I'll send you the link to it.
Awesome. Great. Looking forward to it.
There you go. Okay, we'll talk
All right. Bye.
next week. Bye.
Round and round, what comes around